4th and 4 at the Tampa Bay 18. Shotgun snap to Prescott. He has time. Throws left side. Wide open is CeeDee Lamb. He'll walk into the end zone for a Dallas touchdown. Nary a Buccaneer within 10 yards. And it's 30-6 Cowboys. And Maher on for the extra point, and it is good. Brett Maher gets a standing ovation after 4 misses tonight.
Fantasy Football Happy Hour with Matthew Berry, served by Applebee's.
Happy Tuesday. Welcome to the Fantasy Football Happy Hour. I'm Connor Rogers alongside Matthew Berry, Jay Croucher. Who did it better? Matthew Berry with the chains on set and the bucket hat, or Mike McCarthy, who did a little some kind of waddle there, it looked like.
A little Jalen waddle.
You guys are too young for this, but when I was a kid, there was a toy called Weebles. And it was called Weebles Wobble, but they don't fall down. And they were like these little round things. If somebody could ever find a Weeble on the internet, but like you would just roll them over. They were like these toys, and that's what he looked like. He looked like a Weeble, like just I don't know, like big sexy going on over there. Mike McCarthy doing his best. Kirk Cousins. And by the way, what's great about that video of him with the gold chains running around. That definitely won't come back to haunt him when they get their asses kicked by San Francisco next week. That absolutely will not.
No, nobody would play it ever again.
No, play that again.
There won't 100%. Be new music over it.
No, that'll never come back. It's good. He's safe. Look, what do you guys have? What? Somebody's in my ear saying something. What? Well, there's okay. Anyway, Pete, our producer Pete, just
he said about stuff.
Curb Your Enthusiasm music.
A lot of show left. You know.
Thank God.
Matthew, last night.
Yes,
with
sir.
Mike McCarthy, and we all liked the Bucs last night.
We did.
Yes, absolutely.
Confess, Bucs plus 2.5. That didn't go great. At some point, I realized that we had the disadvantage in the coaching matchup, and Mike McCarthy was the better coach on the sidelines. And at that point, I knew that we were in big trouble. When they went for it on 4th and goal from the 1, I knew we were done. Yeah.
Right. But it's noon on Tuesday on Peacock, of course, but it is 5 o'clock somewhere. And I'll tell you, one of the places where I hope it's 5 o'clock is Tampa Bay, because they should be drinking heavily. Because that's right. Like, I've said this, and I've said this clearly many times. I believe Mike McCarthy is one of the most overrated coaches in the NFL. And yet, he put on a masterclass compared to what Todd Bowles put out there last night. Todd Bowles is on a list, and I've said this before. Todd Bowles is on a list of really, really good coordinators. He's a very good defensive coordinator. I want to give the man his props. He's a really good defensive coordinator who should not be a head coach. They looked completely unprepared, uninspired, unfired up. You're at home in a playoff game, and they're just sort of like it felt like a Thursday against the Jags. You know what I mean? Just a really brutal. I mean, when you get outcoached by Mike McCarthy, I think there's some, I think Nathaniel Hackett is one of those guys, right? I mean, jury's still out on if he's a good offense coordinator, but he's definitely not a head coach, right? I mean, how much of Rodgers' success was him versus just, hey, he's Aaron Rodgers. I think jury's still out on Josh McDaniels as a head coach. No question about him.
Jury's in.
I'm trying to be kind.
Guilty.
I'm trying to
life in prison.
I'm trying to be
no hope.
I'm trying to be kind to Josh McDaniels. Listen, he's probably going to get Brady next year. So, anyway, but yeah, I mean, there's just guys. The poster child there is Norv Turner, who was one of the greatest offensive coordinators in NFL history and just should not have been a head coach. Todd Bowles in over his head, and there's reports out this morning that Byron Leftwich is likely to be fired as offensive coordinator. Again, all these coordinators getting thrown under the bus for poor head coaching jobs. Joe Lombardi fired on the way in this morning. Brandon Staley throwing him under the bus apparently to try to save his job.
Mike LaFleur gone.
What?
Mike LaFleur gone as well in New York.
Yeah.
I think everyone's focusing on how bad Brady and the offense looked. My bigger problem was that the defense was atrocious as well. And they kept on just sending 4. They couldn't get any pass rush at all. Dak Prescott did whatever he wanted. And it was this combination of sending 4, getting no pressure, and then comical miscommunications in the secondary. So CD Lamb, of all people, wide open for a touchdown. It was an absolute catastrophe on every level. I just couldn't believe it.
And again, Todd Bowles is a defensive coach. That's why I'm saying, like, he just got a masterclass in getting out-coached.
Yeah. Can you send a blitz, Todd? Can we get a blitz? One blitz? Come on. It's unbelievable.
And in fairness, like when CeeDee Lamb went for that touchdown and like there was no one around him within like 40 yards. Like the closest guy to him was like the photographer, right, on the sideline.
Literally,
right?
yes.
Literally. You know, and I don't know if you saw this, but camera one, if you can just get a shot of me, they cut to Todd Bowles.
I love when he says
they cut to Todd Bowles on the sidelines, and Todd Bowles just absolutely lost it. And I'm going to do a quick impression here. Todd Bowles just absolutely loses it at his defense and does this.
Cameron once had a heavy workload this season.
Blink.
Cameron one needs the offside like Tampa.
He did blink at one point. He did. It's just like it's.
Cameron one needs the cold tub.
Yeah,
right now.
Not great.
Can you take some solace that now Mike McCarthy is locked, as a Commanders fan, that Mike McCarthy is locked in as the head coach of the Cowboys?
Yeah. No, that's good. That's
little
good.
victories here.
Little
I'm looking
victories.
out for you.
I appreciate. Yes. We still have Ron Rivera, so it's like it's a little
There's
bit
a
of
huge imbalance because Sirianni and Dable are 2 of the 6 best coaches in the league, and then McCarthy and Ron Rivera's up and down.
So this is the tweet I sent out after the game, guys. This is the current state of the current state of the NFC. For those listening at home, I sent out a tweet that basically resets the current state of the NFC East. Philadelphia, of course, is in the divisional round. The New York Giants in the divisional round. The Dallas Cowboys in the divisional round. And the Washington Commanders have 8 active investigations and lawsuits. Shout out to my guy JP Finley of NBC Sports Washington, who I texted to make sure I wasn't missing any.
To confirm the amount of lawsuits.
The amount of lawsuits, and we were going back and forth.
I say it took a little discussion.
Well,
right?
yeah, we went back and forth in terms of all right, well, so there's Virginia, and then there's Maryland, and then there's Washington, D.C. Oh, and the District Attorney of Washington, D.C. has the 2 investigations, and then there's a congressional investigation. There's 2 lawsuits from the District Attorney of D.C. So we went back and forth, and I believe the number is 8, but, the day is young. The day is young. We're all off the rails here, Connor. I completely blame you.
I'll steer us right back on. It usually is my fault. Dak has a massive game. It didn't look like he had to do a whole lot, like you said, Jay, with how bad the secondary looked.
Hey, Jay.
Yes,
when
Matthew.
you ski, I assume, right? Growing up in Australia, right?
Not really.
Yeah.
It's quite a warm climate. It's a very warm climate.
How do you? I'm looking at Sean White over here. I'm just curious. When you ski, how do you turn? Do you slalom? What do you?
It's a good word. It's underused, slalom.
I don't
Not sure
ski.
you pronounce
You
it
don't
like that.
ski?
No, I just have a jacket on.
You just have
a hockey jacket.
So a hockey jacket, yeah. They skate in hockey.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. All right, fine. Skate us back.
Slalom.
Yeah. It is. But isn't that what you do in skiing? You slalom?
Slalom. Yeah.
Am I wrong, guys?
I think
Someone
that's
get
an
in my
event.
ear and tell me I'm wrong.
Nobody knows. Nobody knows.
No one in the control room knows.
For the love of God, let's talk about Dak Prescott.
The notorious nation of Australia, known for skiing.
Yeah.
Known for skiing. Back to Dak Prescott
that was
somehow.
the joke, too. Everyone.
Surfing
We have
joke.
mountains. We have mountains.
This is what I'm
in
stuck
Australia.
with.
And sharks.
This is what I'm stuck with, people.
We're not selling it. Dak Prescott. Yeah, I thought he played well. I think it's
well, when you don't have any pressure, when you have 8 billion years to
I don't know what happened in the Washington game at all. I don't know how he went 14 for 37, but he looked like the guy. He looked like the same guy that completely lit up the Eagles a month ago, where he just looked like Superman. And he did whatever he wanted with his legs as well, which I think he's getting back post the injury. The way that he looked off the safety for the Dalton Schultz touchdown, that's just prime Dak. He was magnificent last night. And I backed the Bucs because I thought that the Bucs had the better quarterback in the matchup, and it wasn't even close.
I thought the Bucs would have the better defense. I did think the Cowboys defense was a little bit overrated. And look, there's the CeeDee Lamb touchdown. We're literally if you're watching it on TV, you're seeing this, but if you're listening to it, just literally they showed the play, and the entire highlight, there's not a Buccaneer in. A lot of times you see a touchdown and you see the opposing defense either miss a tackle or out of position. There's literally not a Buccaneer on the screen. But in fairness, why would you want to guard CeeDee Lamb? Eights, my guy Eights, friend of the podcast, friend of the show, Eights, CeeDee Lamb there. You know what I liked is that one of the plays that we showed was the Dak Prescott on 4th and 1, the touchdown run, where they fake the run to Zeke and then he does the back bootleg and runs untouched into the end zone. The best part of that was, if you're watching the broadcast, Troy Aikman says, "I'd go for 3 here." As Dak Prescott is walking in,
also,
with no one close to him.
Right after Maher missed the extra point, like from a similar range, or even so. Yeah, I mean that was the most exciting thing about last night's game. Really, was the Brett Maher experience. It was actually unparalleled. And I tried to work out because extra points now, with it being moved back, about a 92% chance of making it.
Yeah, sure.
So like 8%, so the power of 5. Because here's the thing, he missed the one against Washington last week as well. Yeah. It was 5 in a row, and I can't even say the percentage chance of this. And he's missing them in all different directions. It was sad, but also very funny at the same time.
Right. He's clearly got the yips.
Every direction.
And here's what's weird. Listen, I'm a Commanders fan, obviously, right? I'm a Washington fan, and so I hate the Cowboys. That's my biggest rival. And maybe I'm getting old and soft. I'm getting soft in my old age. I saw everyone on Twitter, right? Everyone online is just dunking on this kid, right? Just making fun and all the memes about, and I feel bad. I just feel bad for the guy. I mean, I don't know. And listen, he's a professional athlete, and that's part of the gig, right? And you put yourself out there, like whatever. We put ourselves out there every single day. We took the Bucs plus 2.5 yesterday. Looked awful, right? That's a bad call. People give me crap online. I deserve it. Horrible call. I took the over on 0.5 rushing yards for Tom Brady. That didn't hit. Look, I didn't hit Dalton Schultz and CeeDee Lamb. I took the overs on both those. So I went 2 for 2. You hit the over on the Tom Brady passing yards.
Pollard went over.
Yeah, Pollard went over. Yeah,
didn't hit, but
Zeke didn't hit. But whatever. We had a 500 day. It's fine. But whatever. Like, you put yourself out there. That's part of the gig, right? Is that you get the praise and you also get the criticism. So he's a professional athlete, and that comes with the territory. But it became sad after a while.
It was a little
bad.
Uncomfortable. And look, the total was 45.5. So any underbettors should be buying Brett Maher jerseys today because he absolutely saved them. And I don't know. Watching that game and being on Bucs plus 2.5 when it was 24-0, I just started cheering for the Cowboys. I'm like, all right, this team's done. Give me 50. Give me a 50-point loss. You're going to lose. At least go out in the blaze of glory.
Well, I think what they've done though is by this performance by the Cowboys, they've made the game against San Francisco next week.
Oh, it's a blockbuster.
Now it's interesting.
It's fantastic.
Now it's really interesting here. Let's talk just quickly about some of these guys. Like, all the guys that were supposed to do stuff did stuff, right? So Dak Prescott had a big game, right? 4 touchdown passes, his first since week 18 of last year, okay? I mean, he had the rushing touchdown as well. The 3rd most fantasy points in any game of his career. 25 of 33, again, just wasn't touched at all. I think the most impressive thing in this game, CeeDee Lamb was CeeDee Lamb, 4 for 68. He catch the wide open touchdown. Nice game here for Dalton Schultz. We talked about him in the pregame as well, yesterday's show, right? It's his 3rd straight game with 8 or more targets. He's had multiple touchdowns in 2 of those 3. There have been 30 games over the last 2 years that Dak Prescott has started, including the playoffs, and Dalton Schultz has touchdowns in 15 of them. There is the connection between, and this is one of the reasons why I talked up the over on Dalton Schultz receiving yards on yesterday's show, is because of the connection between Dak Prescott and Dalton Schultz. I mean, again, Gallup catches a touchdown, which is nice, but after CeeDee Lamb, T.Y. Hilton, the ghost of T.Y. Hilton, is playing significant. Yeah, he's playing significant snaps for this team. I don't know that there's a pass catcher they try after CeeDee Lamb. It feels like Schultz is the most viable pass catcher on this Cowboys offense.
Yep. Gallup is looking better. He made some good catches last night. He's getting healthier, but it's probably more of a next year thing before he gets back to being Michael Gallup. But look, they don't have San Francisco's weapons, but that team is loaded.
Especially when Dak is playing at that level. And with all the storylines around the offense, somehow the biggest story still goes back to Brett Maher, who right now, we saw Dak's frustration on the sidelines. I think he wanted to go for 2 at that point. We did hear from both McCarthy and Dak after the game on the Cowboys kicking situation and going into next week.
Was McCarthy wearing the gold chains?
That was a short-lived McCarthy experience.
We need Brett. He understands that. So, we need to get back on it this week and, get him ready to go. Obviously, we're kicking out, an outdoor stadium out there in Santa Clara. So, but, he's disappointed, but, we need him. We need him to focus in, and, he's been super clutch for us all year. So, but that's the plan.
I'm Money Mar's biggest fan. Obviously, I've been shown the video of me, and that's just emotion. That's part of it. Yeah, I mean, I talked to him individually, told him after the game, hey, let that go. We're going to need it. I just played like a week ago, so I mean, that happens. But when you believe in each other and you believe in what we're capable of doing and knowing what that guy's done, what resiliency he's shown throughout his career personally, no doubt that he'll come back next week and be perfect and help us win.
So now the question, guys, after this performance by the Cowboys just completely throttling the Bucs is, can this team legitimately make a run? And we laughed at the beginning of this and said they'll get, maybe crushed by the Niners in a couple of days at this point on short rest. But, if we take a look at the updated NFL playoff bracket, the Cowboys right now to win the NFC are plus 450, so Vegas is telling you they don't have a chance. What you saw from the offense last night, do you think they can get hot and make a run when Dak is playing like that?
Top to bottom, that roster is as talented as any team in the NFL. I mean, they have a franchise quarterback. They have legit weapons on the offense. They obviously have an amazing defense led by Micah Parsons is the best player on defense in the NFL.
Yeah,
but not the NFC. Like him and I think if I was starting a team, and I think I'd take Parsons over Bosa.
For
just
sure.
because
Bosa might have had the better season, but Parsons is the better player.
Is a better player and the more versatile. And anyway, whatever. Whatever. The fact of the matter is,
shout out to Aaron Donald.
They're retired for a minute. They're loaded on both sides of the ball. But where I keep going back to, honestly, is that if you think about the four coaches that are left in the NFC, Kyle Shanahan, Nick Sirianni, Brian Daboll, Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy is fourth, and it's not a particularly close. It takes you a while to get to third, would be my argument. Again, they just dominated the Buccaneers, but whatever. The Buccaneers could barely win the South, right? I mean, we took the Buccaneers plus 2.5 just because the Cowboys looked so bad in Week 18. We thought at home, and we thought Tom Brady and they're going to get up, but they couldn't do it. There's only so much Tom. Tom can't coach the team and play football.
I think the one thing
is there a chance? Of course, there's a chance. It's football. There's always a chance, but no, I would not be taking the plus 450 bet on BetMGM.
Yep. I think the thing with McCarthy is at least, Dan Quinn is an excellent defensive coordinator. He won Assistant Coach of the Year last year. So the defense is fine in terms of a coaching standpoint. And then there's just so much talent on offense that McCarthy can only do so much to screw it up, I think, with decision making. And he went for it on 4th and 1.
No, it's fair. I'm sorry, I didn't interrupt you.
No, I mean, the thing with McCarthy is the conservatism on 4th down, the decision making. But he got it right last night. And I just think that, I think that they're going to have the better quarterback against San Francisco. We love Brock Purdy. Dak Prescott is better than Brock Purdy, non-controversial. And so I just think with the amount of talent, and also I think it's a weird thing, but I think the Niners' run defense being so good is actually going to help Dallas. Because they're going to run Zeke into the line twice for 1 yard, and then they're just going to have to throw the ball. Their problem on offense is Zeke and Zeke and Zeke, and they're just going to have to throw the ball, which I think is the way to beat the Niners.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's no question that you can attack that secondary, certainly more than you can attack the run defense there. Kellen Moore has done a nice job with the Cowboys for a couple of years now. And you mentioned Tony Pollard, and this has been the Tony Pollard year, the year of Tony Pollard breaking out. Big game last night with 18 touches, right? And almost 90 total yards. He played almost 60% of the snaps yesterday. 15 touches and 80 total yards in 3 of the past 4 games. He's going to be a key for them beating the Niners, having him involved not just in the run game and getting those explosive plays, but having him involved in the passing game as well. We took the under on you did. I mean, I've taken my own losses here. We took the under on Zeke, receiving yards at 7.5. He catches 1 for 9, and you're just like, he hadn't caught a ball in a month and a half. So what are you going to do? But Pollard in the receiving game is going to be a key, especially against that rush of the Niners.
Yep. One bet I do like in this game, Dallas, San Francisco, the line is 3.5, which I think is right. I think that's the right line. But the total is 46. To me, that's too low. I think both of these teams are going to score. Dallas still banged up in the secondary. Cris gets hurt with his knee last night. That's going to be a problem. San Francisco pass defense has been a lot more mortal than expected the past month. So I think Dallas will be able to score as well. I think that's going to be a high-scoring game in perfect weather in Santa Clara.
Guys, there's no way to talk about this game without bringing up the question of Tom Brady's future. Obviously, we saw after the game, he's not going to give anything on that, but he will be an unrestricted free agent. He has a no-tag clause in his contract, so they can't franchise tag a 45-year-old quarterback. It just feels like the Brady era in Tampa is over, and that I think he'll still play. Nobody knows, but it just feels like this specific Tom Brady era has come to an end.
It's going to be on your team. It's going to be on the Jets.
I wouldn't bet on that one either.
No?
It feels like a Josh McDaniels reunion could be on the way.
I mean, certainly that's where all the signs are pointing. Is it just feels like because reunion with Josh McDaniels, they have Devontae Adams, they have Darren Waller, They have
Omnia.
They have Omnia in Vegas, Hakkasan. But in all seriousness, like if you just want to if you think about just the Tom Brady glory years, right? I mean, they have an Edelman and Hunter Renfrow, right? I mean, they have a Gronk in Darren Waller, even though those guys are obviously very different type players. But they have a tight end that can get open and create mismatches, right? They have an elite wide receiver in Devontae Adams. They have a good run game. We'll see if they bring Josh Jacobs back, but at the moment they have a good run game. Could they improve the defense in the offseason? Sure. And it's a tough division you're going to. You're going to the AFC West, but
they just don't have a defense. Like, that team's not Tom Brady away from winning the Super Bowl, I don't think. If I was Tom Brady, I'd go to Miami, and I don't think Tua Tagovailoa was necessarily the future.
Miami, those are the rumors there. You could see on the Jets. Like, again, they're like they talked about this. Van Pelt talked about this last night on SportsCenter. It's just like, how many teams are there that have a good defensive receiver that are literally just a Tom Brady away from the Super Bowl? He can't go to the and by the way, the Jets are one of those teams,
Jets,
right?
Dolphins.
The Jets, the Dolphins, the Commanders.
Yeah. Play Bill Belichick twice a year. Love that.
The Commanders, jokes aside, but if the J.P. Finley report is true that the team will be sold in March, suddenly if there's a new owner in there, willing to spend some money. Look, they have.
Feels like he's not going to go to the Commanders for some reason. Just feels that way, doesn't it?
It does feel weird, but in all seriousness, like, you guys are going to call me a homer, and that's fair. And it's fair to call me a homer because I am. But
Travis Homer over here.
Right, but yeah, I'm like Travis Homer. But tell me that, look, Commanders have a good defense. You'll grant me that, right? Right? And, and Terry McLaurin and Jahan Dotson and Curtis Samuel, Logan Thomas, there's some weapons on offense, 100%. They have a couple of good running backs here. They need a quarterback.
To break or something.
What?
Surely we're due to get to break. The Commander, it just feels like he's just not going to go to that franchise with the state that it's in.
Right now.
Yeah.
But tell me if all of a sudden Jeff Bezos pays $7 billion for it in March.
True. Yeah. Talent-wise, sure. They are Tom Brady away from competing for the NFC. I think so.
That's my only argument there. In the current leadership there's absolutely no chance he goes there.
I think.
But if it's sold to a Bezos, if it's sold to a Josh Harris who owns the Sixers and the Flyers and is like a well-known professional sports owner, I wouldn't put a lot of money on it, but I don't think it's outside the realm of possibility. I think there's a non-zero chance if the team is sold.
All I'd put money on is that I would need 30-1 that he goes back to Tampa Bay. That just felt like it was done last night. It seemed like that has run its course.
To me, the only way he comes back, because again, he's still got Evans and Godwin, and in theory a good defense. To me, the way it comes back is they get rid of Bowles, they get rid of everyone, and they bring in Brian Flores. Do they hire Brian Flores? Do they bring back Bruce Arians?
That's what I think it would
right?
take, yeah.
Something like that. It would take something like that, I think.
Well, Brady did speak after the game, and the body language, I think, gave it away. But we did hear from Brady after the game on what's next.
Before we get to this clip real quickly, watch this, because I watched this a couple of times. Yeah. And what's interesting is he's sitting there and he's wanting to say nice things about Tampa Bay and what a great home it's been. And you can see he sort of catches himself, because he's about to say, this is my home and I love it here. But he realizes, there's a chance I'm leaving.
Yeah.
You'll watch. He catches himself. Just watch this clip. This is Tom Brady after the game.
I'm going to go home and get a good night's sleep as good as I can tonight. And
Or you want to take a step out? I mean, that was first.
No, I'm not. This has been a lot of focus on, this game. So, yeah, it's just be one day at a time, truly. I just want to say thank you guys for everything this year. I really appreciate all your effort, and I know it's hard for you guys too. It's hard for us players to make it through, and you guys got a tough job, and I appreciate all that you guys do to cover us and everyone who watches and is a big fan of the sport. We're very grateful for everyone's support, and hopefully, I love this organization. It's a great place to be, and thank you everybody for welcoming me, all you regulars, and just very grateful for the respect, and I hope I gave the same thing back to you guys. So thank you very much. Appreciate it.
You hear those ums?
And there was he said hopefully, and then got off the exit and went to something different. So we don't know where that hopefully was going, but we'll see.
And you can't talk about what the Buccaneers' future looks like until we know who their quarterback is. Honestly, until we already know we don't already know, but rumors are strong that Byron Leftwich will be relieved of his duties as offensive coordinator. There's chances that there's going to be other coaching changes. And again, if Brady leaves, we can't talk about the value of Godwin or Evans or Rashad White or Uncle Lenny or any of these guys until we know Kate Otten, until we know what's going on.
This isn't close to the team that won the Super Bowl with Gronkowski, Antonio Brown, those guys, Shaquille Barrett with the injury. I think he's going to choose a better destination.
By the way, speaking of who's available, Antonio Brown.
Oh, great.
Antonio Brown's out there.
They package deal again?
Package deal
I don't
again.
think so. I think that ship sailed.
Do you think so?
Yeah, I have a gut feeling on this one.
Is that your advice, Connor, to the people out there? Any NFL teams watching, if you'd like Tom Brady to be on your team, maybe not post about his ex-wife?
Yeah.
Is that a helpful hint?
It's a little PR advice from me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't have my PhD in that one, but just a gut feeling.
There you go. A lot of people say Connor is just good looks, but you know what?
There's a brain in there somewhere.
There's a noggin.
I didn't say how big it is.
There's a noggin up there, Sean White. I like it.
All right. We are going to our first break, but when we are back.
Has anyone looked up slalom yet?
When we are back, it's the Peacockies, our awards, the Fantasy Awards, the first annual Fantasy Football Happy Hour award show coming your way.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBC Sports and Rotoworld.com. Just want to thank you so much for watching what you just watched, or at least being too lazy to click out of it after the autoplay just kept it going. So either way, thank you so much for just letting it scroll by your screen. And now I'd like to ask you respectfully, please subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel for the latest NFL news, fantasy headlines from Rotoworld, and betting analysis from NBC Sports Edge.